In breaking news, the long splinter garage tilt-a-door lock mechanism gets a much needed upgrade. We're going to cross over live to Paul on site. G'day makers, and welcome to the Long Splinter Workshop. If this is your first time here, my name's Paul, and I really appreciate you joining us. In today's adventure, I'm going to be repairing a garage tilt-a-door lock mechanism. Now, you're probably wondering, how did I get here? Well, the previous lock installer had welded this plate directly onto the T-bar locking handle. Now, as you can tell, things were cut and words were said. To make matters more exciting, the locking bolts had the ends bent over to go through the holes, and the ends were peened over. So in the right conditions, the bent ends would slip through the holes in the bracket, which is less than ideal. I'm not teaching any trade skills today, and you're definitely going to see why later. A theme for today's repair is serviceability. I see serviceability of making items replaceable through intelligent design and potentially increasing the operational longevity. My goal of the video is to inspire intelligent, serviceable designs. This is not a sponsored video. Before I forget, a big thank you to Curtis over at Sigwell for sending over a brilliant goodies package. Look at all the loot that I received. This awesome tee. I've got a cap and a beanie for my noodle. Brilliant drink cooler. And more than enough stickers for the sticker wall that I need to get. I really appreciate getting swag like this that's useful and for brands that I actually believe in. So thank you. With all of that said, let's dive into the adventure. Cheers. Part of design is trying to work out what you can get and to accelerate the build process. And in this case, I was able to find this T-bar handle backing plate from the big box store here in Australia, and it certainly had almost everything that I wanted to allow me to actually do the build. So here is a sketch. The top image is the side profile of the handle that I've just shown you from the big box store. The bottom was the way I envisaged the handle needing to operate in my given solution design. So I needed to work through how to set about making the modifications to the handle to make it work the way I envisaged. So I've been keeping a secret. Over 4 years ago, I purchased a welder, the WeldSkill 135 MIG. And it's been sitting, waiting for today to come out and play. So, without further ado, let's set this up and see how well we go. I set about with the grinder to cut one side off and relocate it with the welder onto the other side of the handle. And as you can tell, I'm going to need some practice. Look at that weld. That weld there, and you can see the colour I got into it, is not, it's not the greatest. You can tell from the grinding that, I need a lot more practice. But, haven't picked up a welder in, it'd be a few years anyway. I think the last time I was welding I was in high school, and that was a long time ago. So yeah, I am absolutely amazed. The good old WeldSkill 135 MIG is really operator friendly. If you've got half a clue, definitely grab yourself a something from the WeldSkill range. I'm probably not going to do a hell of a lot more than just sort of odds and bods, but yeah, I am absolutely stoked. Now on to the locking rods. The top picture is what I started with. The bottom picture was the design that I came up with, using a fender washer over the end and then welded to the locking rod, popping a hole in the end for a split pin to allow it to be removed as needed for serviceability. as a maker, from time to time, you forget to actually record the footage because you're so excited and in the moment. Sadly, I didn't get a copy of the fender washer being drilled out or the hole being drilled in the end of the locking rod or the welding of the two together. And here we have the finished items. So that'll go on the door lock. These are going to go, I've got to generate some holes in there, and those holes will be to that sort of a standard because that's what I'm dealing with that was there previously. But here I'm just going to put some washers on it, and yeah, they're tacked on and that will do. And here we have the final device all wrapped up and installed. A couple of washers behind, including the one I welded on, and a couple of washers in front. I think the one on the left might have 3 washers on it, purely because I drilled the hole in the wrong spot. Works really, really well. Action. Welded this locking oh dear, cap to and cut.